There it is. All right. So, hello.
Hello.
This is Jay. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, folks. I'm Jay. I know most of you by now, so.
Hi.
Hello.
All right. So, our first question is describe your spiritual path from childhood to now and what drew you to this path.
As like pretty much 90% of us, I started out Catholic.
So many of us.
Did Catholic school, Sunday school, all that fun stuff, and then I just started asking way too many questions to the nuns and my priest, and I kept getting the runaround answer, take it on faith or it's in the Bible, and I kept calling BS. So I left the church and went to public library, not a school library, public library, and started doing research on other religions. And I found my place that made the most sense to me in paganism and witchcraft. I didn't stumble onto Wicca for probably 10 years after I was 13. But even then...
It's funny because most people start off with Wicca. That's what they find first for some reason.
Yep. But I found there was a couple other, not kids, older high schoolers, and I was in junior high, that were looking up some stuff and kind of had similar interests, but I found out later on that they were on a very dark path. I ended up going to one of their ceremonies. I got touched by something. And that Catholic part in the back of my brain said, run, it's evil.
No.
So I ran. But I kept going to the public library, kept researching, wanted to know. I found a couple other pagans and kind of went from there. When I moved from Washington State to New York, I was on my own, and that's basically when I discovered Wicca a little bit, and some of it made some sense, some of it didn't make much sense. Kind of blended stuff together. I was kind of, after watching a lot of the other previous interviews, I realized the one God that spoke out to me most recently has always been around. I just didn't know it. My path is I have a very, very strong tie to Anubis. He's been around me since the beginning, and probably while I was still Catholic. Obviously, like so many of us, we met up at that other place.
Yes, that other place.
And the Witchy Palooza, and meeting so many of you, and carrying on from there.
Hey. Do you have certain practices that you do to help define what your path is?
I would, to a certain extent, I dabble around a little bit with the different gods and goddesses that have been coming up, but Anubis is my primary. I try to do a little ritual with him every new moon. Usually on the 12th of every month, because of the 12 gates in the underworld in Egypt mythology. So I try to keep things in par with him as much as possible. I do. I have my offerings for him: dark chocolates, water. I have specific incenses that I burn for him. But I stay right on top of it with him, and I talk to him almost every day.
Nice. Did you read about what to offer, or did you get a sense from meditating with him, or?
I did some research. As far as the stones, that came pretty naturally just from when I first met up with him. Tiger eye, obsidian, onyx, labradorite are his big go-tos, so that came pretty naturally. But I researched and found that he likes dark chocolates and spicy food, so I actually have a chili dark chocolate pieces that I offer to him.
Cool.
he likes rum and water. So I offer water because I like my rum. We haven't gotten to the part where we're sharing drinks yet. So
oh, okay, gotcha.
But I have black and gold candles for him. I have a nice obsidian sphere to scry with him, so
great
and communicate. Yep.
What challenges have you experienced on your journey so far?
My biggest challenge was I never came out and told my mom that I left Catholicism. I still went to church with her every Sunday. We still did every Christmas mass together. We did every Easter mass together. We did all that stuff. I still went to Sunday school, and I still did Catholic youth group. As you found out at the dumb supper, my mom decided to communicate with me through paganism because she realized I was not going to answer the door in Catholicism. So, so there you go, Mom. You found out.
There it is. It's, I think there's nothing wrong with that at all, too. With keeping your foot in the door for someone out of respect. I did that with my grandfather, too. And just because he was very Catholic, he was like to the point where he was worried about my kids' souls if they didn't get baptized. So,
geez.
I got my older two kids baptized because if it made him feel better, fine. But as long as he felt good about it,
the respect for some of the older members in your family who were just like, ooh, that stuff's scary.
Yeah, exactly.
So I get that.
You started to describe a little bit the deity work that you do. Do you have like daily practices, weekly, monthly? You said on the 12th and new moons.
Yep. With Anubis, I talk to him every day. Usually just kind of like go over to his altar and just kind of be like, morning, hope things go good today, but I definitely make sure that offering dishes are full. I check them every day, make sure the water's there, if it gets empty, obviously refill. I swap out the chocolates, there's just random times it feels like I should light some incense, so I light my resin and just be like, here's a quick offering, I gotta go. But it's there's sometimes it just feels right. As far as like any of the other gods and goddesses that are starting to speak to me more, excuse me. I haven't done anything for them yet because we're going to be in the process of moving.
Right.
But I've journaled about the different gods and goddesses, and it's like, okay, this is what I want to do for Morrigan. This is what I want to do for the Green Man. This is what I want to do.
Nice.
So it's like, and I'll openly converse out loud upstairs with all my other stuff and just be like, okay, hey guys, I'm not forgetting you. This is what I'm going to do, but we're moving. I don't want to just rush an altar for somebody.
Right.
I don't want to be that kind of disrespectful. So I'm going to wait till we get moved and then do a proper altars for everybody that's around.
I like it. Nice. Yep. Just check it in.
Oh yeah.
Do you have a divination method that you like most?
I have a lot of oracle decks. I have one tarot deck, at two actually, but I'm actually going to part away with my my dragon decks. I have a dragon oracle and a dragon tarot. To the other two on the group, they know, Mike and Brandon.
Cool.
Because they're not talking to me. They don't feel right anymore.
Yep.
But my oracle deck, I have a druid oracle, I have a fairy oracle, I have a Norse oracle, and then I have a crow tarot deck. And the crow tarot deck is the one that just utterly speaks volumes to me.
Great.
The Norse and the druid oracle decks speak more to me than the fairy one does. But outside of those, I scribe with smoke.
Nice.
When I light my incense and I'll actually just pay attention to the smoke for a while.
Nice.
Especially when I light it up for Anubis. I mean, I have other incenses and resins for my other altar, but smoke, being an air elemental, being a Gemini with air, smoke is huge. We'll do bonfires in our yard and I'll just stare at smoke and see stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I also like water. I have a small scrying bowl. I've tried it twice. I'm trying to figure out how comfortable I am with it. And then obviously I have a nice big obsidian sphere that I try to scry with Anubis too. So.
Nice. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see where that would be good with him.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
Do you have like a favorite tarot card or an oracle card that speaks to you that you look for a lot?
When it comes to the oracles, my Druid Oracle deck is usually I'll end up with the wolf in mine, or I'll end up, surprisingly, the air dragon.
I'm shocked.
As far as the Druid Oracle deck goes, those two usually pop up in every reading I've ever done for myself. Those two are the main ones. The fairy one, there was a transformation, and there was a kin card, I think, kin or family card. I can't remember. Those two have popped up a couple of times, but I don't use that deck a whole lot, so I don't know how regular those would show up.
Right.
The Norse one, for all of you, Urus shows up all the time. And so I'll never remember his name, but the Norse sea serpent.
Oh yeah, Jorgemund. Good.
That huge name.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a couple of you that know that name way better than I do, but that one shows up a lot, which is weird because I've had this little thing about for fairy deities too. Mama McLair, which roughly translates the son of the sea. He's been coming up, so I'm kind of thinking there might be coincidence there.
Yeah, there might be something there. With
try to figure that one out.
Cool.
But as in tarot, usually the Hanged Man comes up quite a bit in my Crow tarot. I think that's more of my stalker card. I don't think that's a favorite one. It just kind of shows up, and usually when it comes to when I do the Sabbath spreads, because I'll do one, for Embolic and Mabon and Salwen and Yule. I'll do a spread, and usually that's when the Hangman shows up the most. Instead of just a past, present, and future.
Right.
So,
That's interesting. Self-sacrifice kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Where am I? Is there one that's a favorite deck that you have?
It's 50-50, the Crow or the Druid deck. Okay. It's I've probably used those two equally. I'd probably say the Druid though, because I've had it longer. That was my very first deck I owned. Cool. That one called out to me when I was at Barnes and Nobles. It was like the only one on the shelf that jumped out of a couple dozen.
Right.
So I've been with that one since I was 14.
Nice.
Hello.
Yes. Yep. Hi. Okay.
Hi. Yep, that's my ear. Go boy. Down.
All right, come on, get down. Down.
Down, boy.
No,
down.
I said down.
Down.
I love you. You can't jump. All right, I know.
You got camera time.
Down. Where the heck am I? Are you able to practice openly, or are you in the broom closet with anyone?
Oh no, I'm open.
Do you connect with a specific element? Obviously, air.
Oh, yeah.
How does that incorporate with the rest of your practice? Does it come up a lot in how you practice, or?
Yeah. When I do the resin burning, I use a lot of resin. I don't really, for some reason, the extra stuff they add into some incenses and whatnot doesn't go with me well. Mm-hmm. But when I burn resin in the smoke, that's a big one. Or when I do when I light candles, smoke there. I mean, that's basically is when the air comes in all the time, because I'm always trying to pay attention to see what Anubis might try to send me that way. Yeah.
Did you have a particular aha moment with your spirituality, or was it like a gradual process to where you are?
It was gradual, but I've had a lot of aha moments. When I was kind of thinking about it, after watching everyone else's interviews, kind of thinking back on certain life events, I've realized like Anubis has showed up a lot in my life. I did some community service. I worked in a cemetery. I took care of gravestones. That's a big thing you do with Anubis. You know, when I was there, we had to dig graves for people, and surprisingly, we buried 3 people in the 6 months that I was there. And every time there was a stray dog that was in the cemetery. You know, there's just certain events. There was an EMT that I met. He actually had a hellhound tattooed on his forearm.
Wow.
Maybe not the best thing, but it was a dog.
Right.
A dog occurrences have shown up a lot in my life.
A lot of times the universe was poking
knocking.
at you.
And then, of course, at Dumb Supper, I'm supposed to get a dog at some point, and I've already decided what dog I'm getting. So,
yay.
Yep.
I'm going to be coming over to visit. Do you feel drawn to crystals, obviously? Is there any particular ones that you work with on a regular basis?
Obsidian, some tiger eye. I'm not partial to any particular obsidian, silver sheen, gold sheen. Tiger eye, I have a ton of fluorite. Tons and tons of fluorite. A couple spheres, couple towers, couple skulls. Fluorite's a big thing. Labradorite, I got a ton of that. Didn't realize how much of that. But yeah, I've actually journaled all my scullies and dragons and towers and spheres, and then that makes you realize how much stuff you really kind of have,
right? Especially
particular stones. So those would be my big go-tos.
Gotcha. Favorite season or Sabbath?
Seasons are split, spring and fall. Not big summer, not big winter technically, but spring and summer.
Totally makes sense because those are the transition times. Anubis.
Yep. Or then always there somewhere. As far as Sabbats, Embolic is a big one. Just because spring, right? Spring? Okay. Mm-hmm. And then obviously pretty much everyone else is on the same boat. Samhain's always big in Mabon.
Yep. Transition.
Yep. Mabon. Yeah. Still.
Yep.
Kicking around.
If you could see 5 and 10 years into the future of this circle, what role do you see yourself in if you could step into any role you're interested in?
5 years, I still want to be a student. I just want to learn. There's so many in this group that has so many different aspects of their lives and where their roots are going. I just want to suck it up and learn as much as I can. 10 years in this group, I wouldn't mind having a spot somewhere in the inner circle. Probably air spot, maybe, possible.
Just possibly.
Maybe.
Air might be a good fit for you.
Maybe.
Yeah. Staying in this 5 and 10 year future jumps, what would you like to see the circle doing for itself and the community at large by then?
5 years, I just think just keep connecting with each other in the group, and then maybe, informing people outside in the community a little by little, I think would be a good kind of starter step within that 5 year span. Nice. 10 years out, I would kind of hope that, I know a big goal is to have the commune, but maybe just start out with like a small plot of land, get 6-7 acres and kind of have like a little community event or something, Yeah. We get together, plant a garden, kind of a thing, have little community events, just to kind of sharing the knowledge and spread it around. And, if people are interested, be part of the community in that kind of aspect.
Good. Name one thing that you're currently interested in learning about in our circle.
I'm still very much interested in Hexen's Path. Just because that whole part, with Santeria, the hoodoo, the voodoo, and the other aspects of his path, I've always been very ignorant of it. I've just been like that, kind of shun away from it. But I never knew anyone that was part of that. So to learn it, so I'm not going, I don't feel dumb about saying something about it.
Right.
Because if I think I might know something, but I kind of doubt it.
Right.
So to keep learning that route, definitely a little bit of Joe. With the Norse path and Courtney, because I feel like there is a Norse path somewhere in there with me. I'm having a very hard time trying to find that path. There's little things that, I mean, why else do I have a Norse deck that I keep using?
Right.
You know, nothing specifically has spoken to me, but I think maybe sitting down and chatting with those ones
right
might
just
help.
poking in and
Yep.
Gotcha. Name one thing you're interested in teaching or mentoring others about in our circle. Please remember, you don't have to be an expert in any subject to teach and grow in that subject.
If anyone else has got an interest in Anubis, I'm willing to share what I've researched and have had personal experiences. I'd be more than willing to share that. As far as like part of the like group, if there was like, you know, ever that commune that we're all hoping to happen someday, cooking and physical fitness, I'd be more than willing to share any physical fitness stuff that I know. I did quite a bit of it in college. It's hard for me to do it on my own. If there's people that are willing to learn, then it's easier to work out. And I love cooking, grilling, all that stuff. I mean, I'm pretty sure me and Mark could come up with some pretty interesting stuff.
Hell yeah. Nice. Good, because I will not be doing any of the cooking. So, yes, we will need that.
There will be tons and tons and tons of meat. There might be some veggies. You never know.
Pasta, too. Peter's
pasta.
Peter's
Yeah, Peter with pasta. Yep.
Would you share any tips that you have, like for beginners just starting out, that you wish you had known or someone had told you when you first started?
Be aware of who you're talking to. I didn't know the first group that I met that they were so dark, and they didn't come off that way until I went to the first ceremony circle that they did, and I'm kind of going, I understand a couple of those words because it was actually in Latin. Right? And I'm like, well, you know what? I don't know, because I'll stick around and see what happens. And then, yeah, got to be, pay attention to who you're talking to. Just because they say that, you know, they're all good and sugar and sweet and whatnot, spice will jump up and bite you in the ass.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Absolutely. Yep. That's true.
But it was a good learning experience. I got to say that much. It was, though. It was terrifying as it was a good learning experience.
That's true. I'm glad you said that, too, because that's something that I kind of forget to say is a lot of people just starting out are afraid that they're going to, you know, do something wrong and come in, like somehow summon something. You're not going to do that.
No.
Don't be afraid to step on something the wrong way, because you'll figure it out pretty quick. Yep. And I've never seen anything that I believed to be true, that somebody like summoned something unknowingly that, you know, was this horrible, awful thing because they didn't know what they were doing.
Right. No. I think in that aspect, you're right. You absolutely know what you're doing if you do something like that.
Yeah.
You're not going to accidentally summon a demon.
Yeah.
I don't care if you got a Ouija board carpet and your Roombas driving around on it like the memes. No. Yeah. You definitely, that's way advanced stuff.
Yeah.
You definitely know what you're aware of and what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Anything else that we didn't touch on that you want to say?
I have like a couple simple tenets. You know, always just try and treat people how you want to be treated. Always respect the dead. Respect the dead. Absolutely. That's big. I mean, obviously with Anubis, respect the dead, honor the dead. It doesn't matter where they are or what they're doing. Don't mess with their grave sites. I've seen too much of that stuff, and I tell you what, that goes horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Yep. During my rebellious days, I actually took a cross off of someone's grave. Next day, I put it back. Yeah.
Good idea.
So, yeah, big thing. Just that's my biggest thing. Just respect the dead, honor the dead.
Nice.
Even if sometimes some of your dead ancestors weren't the best to you, still pay them the respect that's deserved.
Yeah. Especially because everyone that I've had family members that I couldn't stand, but when they transitioned, so the energy is very different. Suddenly they're like, oh, wait, okay, I see the big picture now. I may not have been correct.
Yep. My grandfather was one of those. Him and I, we got along when I was very little. When my parents divorced, I got shunned very, very fast. I spoke up against him a lot, and that wasn't normal. And I got ostracized a lot. And our last meeting before he passed away was very brutal, hot, very vicious things were said back and forth. And he passed while I wasn't around for it. And he's tried reaching out a couple of times, and then I found out he was buried in Arlington National Cemetery.
Oh, okay.
So I went and visited him, and I had a chat with him, and better energies, So yeah, you never know. Energies do change when you pass on.
Yep.
Because you do get to realize what the other side's all about.
Yeah, I think they get a glimpse of the bigger picture, and
it's humbling.
Yeah.
I would have to assume it's very humbling.
I agree. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Not a problem.
Okay.
Bye, guys.